Hello, this is Jean Marie Ward for Buzzy Magazine. With me today is best-selling author and media tie-in grandmaster, Keith DeCandido. Welcome, Keith.
Hello.
Hello. How did you get to be a media tie-in grandmaster? What the heck is it?
Hell if I know. I was walking down the street and all of a sudden they get about 5-6 years ago or thereabouts. I forget when exactly, but sometime in the 2000s, Max Allan Collins and Lee Goldberg formed the International Association of Media Tie-in Writers, which is basically, there's already a Mystery Writers of America, there's Science Fiction Writers of America, there's Horror Writers of America, there's, Romance Writers of America. IAMTW is basically a writers association for people specifically who write tie-in fiction.
People who write the novels that go along with your favorite Star Trek movie?
Exactly. Anything that's based on something from another medium is any fiction that's based on another medium, whether it's based on a TV show, a video game, a movie series, a cartoon, a comic book, a role-playing game, whatever. That sort of thing. They usually have their own little section in the bookstore, usually with at the end of the science fiction section. Most of them are science fiction, although not all. We have a pretty good representation. Just as an example, one of the co-founders is Lee Goldberg, who is still writing books based on Monk, the USA detective series. And in fact, I'm in the midst of doing a novel based on Leverage, which is not really a science fiction story.
Yes, but one of my favorite series.
Oh, one of mine too. But that really doesn't. I'm assuming it's going to get shelved in the mystery section. Mm-hmm. Although I honestly don't know. That's not my decision.
Yeah.
But every year, the IAMTW gives the Scribe Awards, which rewards the best in the field. Best speculative fiction novel, best non-speculative fiction novel, best adaptation, best young adult. And they also give out a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's gone to Donald Bain, to myself, to Alan Dean Foster, to Peter David, and I think one other. And I was stunned, frankly. This happened in 2009, which was quite a momentous year for me, actually. In 2009, I received the Lifetime Achievement Award. I turned 40, and I got my black belt in karate. So that was an eventful year.
Yes, it certainly is. But then again, every year with you is eventful. I mean, how many books and stories and comic books and games?
I'm close to. I haven't written any games. I've written books based on games.
Okay.
But, I'm at almost 50 novels now. When I hit 50, I get a set of steak knives.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Are they the good steak knives or the Costco steak knives?
Since most of my work is tie-in fiction, I'm guessing they're the crappy ones. But I've been focusing more on my own fiction, stuff I keep the copyright on. I've been doing a series of original things, but I'm still doing tie-in work. I've done, besides the Leverage novel that I'm working on right now, I've done a Kung Fu Panda comic story that's going to be out later this year, and I'm hoping to do more.
Yeah, and in terms of your original work, you've got something called The Dragon Precinct out there.
That's actually a series. Dragon Precinct originally came out back in 2004 for Pocket Books. Then the imprint that it was part of stopped.
It happens in our business, yes.
And the book was kind of orphaned. And then later, Pocket did start publishing original science fiction and fantasy again, but they still declined the option to pick up the series. So Dark Quest Books, a small press publisher out of New Jersey, picked up the series. We published Unicorn Precinct, the second book, last year. I got the rights back to Dragon Precinct, so they reissued Dragon Precinct as well. And Goblin Precinct, the third book, will be debuting at Balticon in 2012, over Memorial Day weekend. And hopefully next year, spring of next year, there'll be Griffin Precinct, which will be the fourth.
What is the big idea behind the Precinct books?
Basically, they're high fantasy police procedurals. It's think Law and Order meets Lord of the Rings. The nice thing about science fiction is very much a genre of setting, and mystery is a genre of plot. So it's really easy to cross the two of them over, because you can have a mystery plot in a science fiction setting. So what I've done with the Precinct books is it takes place in a fairly standard medieval fantasy setting. It's straight out of Tolkien or your average D&D game. I didn't go too far afield with that, because I wanted something that the reader would be generally familiar with. In terms of the tropes. There are wizards, there are elves, there are dwarves, there are gnomes, there are people, and so on. And there's magic, which is regulated by the Brotherhood of Wizards. And in this port city where the novels take place, Cliff's End, there is a castle guard that report to the Lord and Lady of the Domain, and their job is to maintain law and order within the city-state. And part of what some of them have to do is actually solve crimes. Somebody is murdered or is robbed or whatever. The first book, Dragon Precinct, is about the members of a heroic quest who are being killed off one by one. And our two main, there's a squad of detectives. There are two main ones that we mostly follow. A human named Torin Van Wivel and a half-elf, half-human named Danthras Tressilian. They're the main characters. There's 4 other detectives, 2 sets of partner teams who have side plots of their own. And that's the main story of that one. Unicorn Precinct is about a murder in the upper class of Cliff's End. The daughter of a member of the court who was killed by somebody. One of the things the Castle Guard has access to is a magician on the payroll from the Brotherhood of Wizards who is the ME, the Magical Examiner.
Right.
He casts a spell that a peel-back spell, they call it, which allows him to see what happened in a particular location. Problem is, in Unicorn Precinct, whoever it was who committed the murder used magical means to disguise themselves, so the ME doesn't know who did it. He knows how it happened, but not who. So our detectives have to find that out. Goblin Precinct is going to be about a designer drug that sweeps through the slums of the city. The way it works is each region of the city is divided into 5 precincts. The city itself, rather, is divided into 5 precincts. Dragon is the middle class district. Unicorn Precinct is the upper class district. Goblin is the slums, and Mermaid Precinct are the docks, and then Griffin Precinct is the castle, the seat of the city. So I've basically got 5 books. I mean, I could theoretically go beyond that. I'm still a couple of years off from having to think about that. I don't know what I'm going to do once I run out of the 5 precincts to title it. The plan is for book 4 to be Griffin Precinct. I've already got the plot set for that, and then Mermaid Precinct, which I have the basic idea for. We'll see beyond that. I'm also going to be doing a collection of short stories called Tales from Dragon Precinct, which will be out either late this year or early next year.
As a writer, your personality comes out very much in the Precinct books.
Okay.
And
that's good.
I would imagine that it has your ebullience and your humor. How much of you can you put into your tie-in books? And is it hard to...
It depends. I mean, what you do when you write tie-in fiction is try to find... It depends on what it is. I mean, in the case, like, for Star Trek, I've been a fan of Star Trek since birth. Sooner, if my mother is to be believed, since she was pregnant while the show was on the air. And so, I've been living with these characters for so long. So getting to write in their voices is part of the fun for me. One of the things I'm very conscious of, and this is even true in my original fiction, are giving every character a distinctive voice. In the case of tie-in fiction, it's a voice that sounds like the actor who played them, if it's a TV show. But that's what I always try to focus on, is getting those voices right. So that's something that's still, it applies whether it's tie-in fiction or original fiction.
So you don't see that much of a disconnect in terms of your writing style?
I don't think so.
From one to the other.
I do have, I think, a distinctive style, and that's like every writer has their own style, and to some extent they bring that. People are going to be able probably to tell one of my books from, say, one of David Mack's books, or one of Peter David's books, or one of Alan Dean Foster's books, or Christy Golden's books, or we all have our own tics and things that we bring to the table whenever we write one of these. I mean, there are aspects of my personality that sometimes will bleed in. I mean, with the Star Trek fiction, I got to create a whole bunch of stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that was being done with the Star Trek novels went beyond the 5 shows. I developed an entire ebook series, monthly ebook series. It was a new novella every month that ran from 2000 to 2007, called Starfleet Corps of Engineers, where we took like some guest star characters who'd shown up on a couple of episodes that really didn't have much done with them, created some new characters, then put them on a ship. There we got to run with it, but it was a bunch of different authors and all bringing their own unique feel to it. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
No, that's close enough.